if I understood what I heard, though, when I came in when you were answering Dr. Dunn's questions, we're 20 to 30 years behind the Australians on sunscreen?
Yes, that's correct.
So clearly there are problems that have existed for some time in developing new sunscreens. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, it may take congressional action, so I don't want to be, accused of beating up on the FDA workers, but don't you think we could import some of the studies and tests they've done in reliable nations like Australia or the UK? I understand there are other nations that may not do the testing that we do, but some of these nations do testing, and if the Australians have products on the market for 20 to 30 years, we probably have a pretty good feel that they're safe. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, so the issue is that we rely on the FDA has insisted on the MUST trial, maximum usage trial, as well as animal testing to ensure safety data. Other countries don't have those two regulatory frameworks, and so they're able to approve other filters, whereas we are kind of stuck in neutral here.
And when it comes to something like sunscreen, which is not taken internally but is spread on the skin, can't we pretty much, I'm just trying to figure out why we can't import data from someplace like Australia that's been using these products for 20 to 30 years.
Yes, so if we, if we reauthorize a MUFA with what we're asking for, which is to allow supplemental data, such as real-world human data, to your point, the hope is that we would see new filters come to market certainly much faster than things have been going.
Yeah, I'm happy to help in any way I can on that. It would seem to me also that if we could somehow import the data that other nations that we rely on, like our friends in Australia, like our friends in the UK and France and some other places, that we could actually make it more efficient and maybe even do it with fewer workers. I'm not going to ask you to comment on that, but this is of concern to me because like so many of us, I have a 17-year-old who knows more than mom and dad. So last week, he went on a mission trip to a sunny area of the country to help clean up trash and work in some construction settings. And because he had read reports, and he does read a lot, that our current sunscreens can cause cancer, he decided not to use sunscreens. You can imagine the result. I got back lobster boy. But it was all, he made all the decisions himself, and he's 17, and he's told us any number of times he knows what he's doing. But it sure would have been nice if he'd had a product out there that was safe, that he hadn't read those reports on, because he's correct. There are reports out there that the sunscreens currently approved by FDA are now showing signs that they may actually be causing the problem more than solving it, or at least equal. Is that fair?
Our position with both the PASS Coalition and the MRF, the best sunscreen is the one you will use. And so whether that's a mineral sunscreen, which physically blocks the sun, or a chemical sunscreen, that's personal preference. That's what your son is most comfortable with. We encourage him to wear a sunscreen.
I would agree, but he determined based on reports he read that none of the products available to him in the United States were safe in his mind. Again, I'm not agreeing with him. I'm just saying what he thought. Mr. DeRuiz, do you have any comments you want to make on the comments I've made and the comments that Ms. Wiesik has made?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in good agreement. I think from a global perspective, we have to understand that the data globally is protected on the compensation reimbursement requirements. So if a company wants to use somebody else's data, they would have to compensate them in most of the European countries. The fact that these methods are scientifically being employed in many parts of the world is intriguing, in that FDA continues to rely on their animal testing, which is not seeing toxicology as a gold standard anymore due to false positives and interspecies differences. But for the most part, I think we can build upon the knowledge of data that already exists, and in fact has existed for 30 years. With this ingredient that we're bringing forward, has been available for 24 years and has been used safely, as evidenced by pharmacovigilance data, which is collected by the TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Authority of Australia, which regulates sunscreens, which is collected by Health Canada, which is also collected by FDA on existing ingredients. So we have a body of evidence on human adverse events which show that there aren't any remarkable adverse events associated with these ingredients, and we should build upon this common network of knowledge to fortify our knowledge in terms of bringing these ingredients quickly to the United States, because people only use what they want to use, and right now they're voting with their feet and buying out the internet.
I yield back.